Hi, this is Victor Fontane. I've been practicing Buddhism for 25 years. I want to share briefly some basic Buddhist concepts. First of all, Buddhism doesn't fit neatly into either category of religion or philosophy. When people asked Buddha what he was teaching, he said, he teaches the way things are. He said nobody should believe in his teachings out of faith, but instead they should examine for themselves to see if they are true or not. So I'm going to give you 10 reasons why Buddhism will enrich your path. 1. There is no Buddhist God. Different schools of Buddhism have different views about who the Buddha was. Some say he was an ordinary human being who discovered the path to awakening. Others say he was already enlightened, but followed the path to show us how it's done. But one thing is certain, he was not a god, deity, or a divine being. His faculties were purely human. Any of us can follow his path, and our enlightenment will be exactly the same as his. Ultimately, we are no different from him, and vice versa. 2. It's about your basic goodness. Buddhism is not about salvation or original sin. It's not about becoming something different or going somewhere else, because both you and your world are basically good. With all its ups and downs, this world of ours works. It warms us, it feeds us, it offers us color, sound, and touch. We don't have to struggle against our world. It is neither for us nor against us. It's a simple, vivid world of direct experience we can investigate, care for, enjoy. 3. But the problem is suffering. The answer is waking up. Buddhism exists to address one problem, suffering. The Buddha called the truth of suffering noble because recognizing our suffering is the starting place and inspiration of the spiritual path. The second noble truth was the cause of suffering. In the West, Buddhists call this ego. It is a small word that encompasses pretty much everything that's wrong with the world. Because according to the Buddha, all suffering, large and small, starts with our false belief in a solid, separate, and continuous I, whose survival we devote our lives to. 4. The way to do it is by working with our mind. So according to the Buddha, the problem is suffering. The cause is ignorance. The remedy is waking up. And the path is living mindfully, meditating, and cultivating our wisdom. There is only one place that all that happens is in our mind. The mind is the source of both our suffering and our joy. Meditation, or taming the mind, is what gets us from one to the other. Meditation in Buddhism, basic remedy for the human condition. The Buddhist path of meditation begins with practices to calm our wild mind. Once the mind is focused enough to look undistractedly into reality, we develop insight into the nature of our experience, which is marked by the impermanence, suffering, non-ego, and emptiness. We naturally develop compassion for ourselves and all beings who suffer, and our insight allows us to help them skillfully. Finally, we experience ourselves and our world for what they have been since beginningless time, are right now and always will be. Nothing but enlightenment itself, great perfection in every way. 5. No one can do it for you, but you can do it. In Buddhism, there is no savior. There is no one who's going to do it for us. No place we can hide out of for safety. We have to face reality squarely, and we have to do it alone. Even when Buddhists take refuge in the Buddha, what they're really taking refuge is in the truth that there is no refuge. No seeking protection is the only real protection. So, that's the bad news. We have to do it alone. The good news is we can do it. As human beings, we have the resources we need: intelligence, strength, loving hearts, and proven effective methods. Because of that, we can rouse our confidence and renounce our depressions and resentments. But while no one can do it for us, help and guidance is available. There are teachers, women and men who are further along the path, who offer us instructions and as inspiration. They prove to us it can be done. Our fellow practitioners support our path, while never allowing us to use them as crutches. The Buddhist teachings offer us wisdom that goes back 2,600 years to the Buddha himself. We can go right to the source because the lineage that started with Gautama Buddha is unbroken to this day. 6. There is a spiritual, non-material reality. Some people describe Buddhism as a rational, scientific religion, helping us lead better and more caring lives without contradicting our modern worldview. It is certainly true that many Buddhist practices work very nicely in this modern world, don't require any exotic beliefs, and bring demonstrable benefits to people's lives. But that's only part of the story. Buddhism definitely asserts there is a reality that is not material. Other religions say that too. The difference is that in Buddhism, this spiritual reality is not God, it is mind. This is something you can investigate yourself. Is my mind made of matter or it is something else? Does my mind have characteristics like thoughts, feelings, and identity, or is it the space within which these things arise? Does my mind change constantly or is continuous? It is one thing or many. What is the boundary of my mind? It is large or small? It is inside me, looking at the material world outside, or are my perceptions and my experience of them both mine? And if so, perhaps it is material world we should be questioning the reality of. 7. But you don't have to take anything on faith. There is not received wisdom in Buddhism, nothing we must accept purely on the basis of somebody else's spiritual authority. The Dalai Lama has said that Buddhism must give up any belief that modern science disproves. The Buddha himself famously said, "Be a lamp unto yourself," and told his students they must test everything he said against their own experience. But it's easy to misinterpret this advice. Our modern egos are keen to take advantage of it. While we shouldn't accept what others say at face value, this doesn't mean we should just accept what we tell ourselves. We have to test the teaching of Buddhism against our direct life experience, not against our opinions. 8. Buddhism offers a wealth of skillful means for different people's needs. Buddhism is not a one-path-fits-all religion. It is highly pragmatic because it's about whatever helps reduce suffering. Beings are infinite, so are their problems and states of mind. Buddhism offers a wealth of skillful means to meet their different needs. If people are not ready for the final truth, but a partial truth will help, that's no problem, as long as it actually helps. The problem is that things that feel helpful, like going along with our usual tricks, can sometimes make things worse. So the Buddhist teachings are gentle, but they are also a bit tough. We need to face the ways we cause ourselves and others suffering. Buddhist meditators have been studying the mind for thousands of years. In that time, they've tested and proven many techniques to tame the mind, lessen our suffering, and discover who we are and what is real and what is not. There are meditations to calm and focus the mind, contemplations to open the heart, and ways to bring ease and grace to the body. It's fair to say, as many people have, that Buddhism is the world's most developed science of mind. 9. It's open, progressive, and non-institutional. While Buddhism is in its Asian homelands can be conservative, convert Buddhists in the West are generally liberal, both socially and politically. Whether this is an accident of history or a natural reflection of the Buddhist teachings, Buddhist communities embrace diversity and work against sexism and racism. Identities of all sorts, including gender, nationality, ethnicity, and even religion, are not seen as fixed and ultimately true. Yet they are not denied. Differences are acknowledged, celebrated, and enjoyed. Of course, Buddhists are still people and they're still part of our society, so it's a work in progress, but they're trying. 10. And it works. We can see or measure subjective experience, so we can't judge directly the effect that Buddhism is having on someone else's mind and heart. But we can see how they act and treat other people. We can hear what they say about what they are experiencing inside. What we find is that Buddhism works. For millennia, Buddhism has been making people more aware, caring, and skillful. All you have to do is meet someone who's been practicing meditation a lot to know that. In our time, hundreds and thousands of Americans are reporting that even a modest Buddhist practice has made their life better. They are calmer, happier, and not as carried away when strong emotions arise. They are kinder to themselves and others. But it's really important not to burden ourselves with unrealistic expectations. Change comes very slowly. You'll also see that when you meet a Buddhist meditator, even one who's been at it for a long time, don't expect perfection. We are working with patterns of ignorance, greed, and anger that have developed over a lifetime, if not much longer. Changes come slowly for most of us, but it does come. If you stick with it, that's guaranteed. Buddhism works. So the story of Buddhism can be traced back 563 BCE or before Common Era, when Prince Siddhartha Gautama achieved enlightenment, awakened to the ultimate reality, becoming a Buddha, which means the awakened one. During his life, he developed a system for all human beings to achieve enlightenment through the study and practice of the teachings, and he called them Tripitaka, or three baskets. The first basket that he taught his disciples were the Dharma, or the Buddhist teachings. The second basket was the Tantra, or the Buddhist practices. And the third basket is the Abhidharma Pitaka, which contains a profound moral psychology and philosophy of the Buddha's teachings, or how the mind works. The first teaching ever given by the Buddha was to 5 student monks in a deer park. He spoke of the Four Noble Truths he had discovered while struggling for enlightenment. So the Four Noble Truths are: first, life is suffering. It was the Buddha's first awareness that life brings with it illness, age, misery, and death that led him to search for a deeper understanding of how we live and ways to end suffering. Second, the cause of suffering is desire and attachment. The reason there is a suffering is that people want things and they don't see what is real. The third noble truth: suffering can be eliminated. People can be free from suffering when they no longer want things. And the fourth noble truth: for a person to stop wanting things, they must follow a set of rules called the Eightfold Path. So he told his disciple about the Eightfold Path that are actually divided in three basic principles. The first one, wisdom. And the first path is right understanding. Understanding of things as they really are, the true nature of things, people, experiences, etc. The second path, right thought. You are what you think. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. The second principle, conduct. And the first path is right speech. Speak kind and helpful words by avoiding lying, harsh speech, and idle talk. In this sense, karma is created by what is called the three doors: mind or thoughts, speech, and body. The next path, right livelihood. Everything you do, job, social life, etc., must avoid hurting others. Next, right action. Respect for others' life, property, and personal relationships. The third principle is discipline. The next path is right effort. Cultivate a positive attitude and have enthusiasm in the things you do. Next path, right mindfulness. Be aware of your thoughts, words, and actions. Again, the three doors. And the last path is right concentration. Your mind is totally absorbed in the moment, without distraction, wavering, anxiety, or drowsiness. Through meditation, you can train the mind to stay always in the now and here. Thank you very much.